"We thought it was better than a prison camp," a Soviet soldier whispered, his voice trembling with regret. "We didn't know it was a death sentence." In July 1942, as Nazi tanks roared toward the Caucasus, Stalin's Order 227, not one step back, unleashed the Shtrafniki, penal units of disgraced officers, soldiers, and Gulag prisoners sent to the deadliest front of World War II. Armed with little more than rifles, they faced tanks, minefields, and machine guns, their lives expendable in Stalin's brutal calculus. Their story of staggering loss and fleeting redemption echoes in 2025's crises. The April 23rd Taiwan Strait showdown, where Chinese J-16s provoked the USS William P. Lawrence, and the Iran-Israel war, which cripples Russia's drone-dependent war in Ukraine, per HUR reports. The Shtrafniki sacrifice reveals the cost of authoritarian regimes' reliance on disposable troops, a warning for today's volatile world. By mid-1942, the Soviet Union faced annihilation. Operation Barbarossa, Hitler's June 1941 invasion, had killed or captured 3 million Red Army soldiers, per Soviet archives. The fall of Rostov in July 1942 exposed the Caucasus oil fields, vital to the Soviet war machine. Desertion skyrocketed. 20,538 soldiers faced AWOL charges by June 1945, per UK MOD estimates, while morale collapsed under relentless German advances. Stalin, inspired by Hitler's penal units formed in early 1942, issued Order 227 on July 28, 1942, demanding not one step back. The order's rousing rhetoric aimed to instill patriotism, but its true force was fear. Penal battalions are officers in penal company for soldiers and prisoners punish cowardice or disloyalty with suicidal missions. This desperation mirrors Russia's 2025 Ukraine war, where 1 million casualties per SEPA and 82% drone failure rates per HUR expose a crumbling military. The Iran-Israel war, with USB, 2 strikes on Tehran's drone factories, disrupts Russia's supply of Shahid, 136 drones, echoing Stalin's reliance on expendable Shtrafniki to plug gaps, per Reuters. The Taiwan Strait incident, where China's J-16s harassed U.S. forces, reflect authoritarian regimes exploiting global distractions, per Navy logs. Penal units, rooted in 19th century European armies like the French Foreign Legion, were revived by Leon Trotsky during the Russian Civil War. Stalin adapted them in 1942, creating penal battalions of 360 demoted officers for high-stakes missions like Bridget assaults and penal companies of 150 soldiers and Gulag prisoners for frontal attacks. Led by battle-hardened commanders and commissars, often dismayed at commanding traitors, these units operated under NKVD surveillance via the SMERSH agency. For Gulag prisoners, penal service offered a chance to erase sentences or avoid execution. Many begged to go, a prisoner recalled, per memoir accounts, hoping to return as citizens. Yet morale was abysmal, driven by self-preservation or fear of NKVD reprisals. By 1945, 1.5 million men served across 15 battalions and 300 companies, per Soviet records. Their expendability parallels Russia's 2025 conscripts, thrown into Ukraine's attritional battles with inadequate training, per the Express. China's calculated neutrality in the Iran war, per Foreign Affairs, and its Taiwan Strait provocations highlight how authoritarian regimes exploit disposable forces to assert dominance. Shtrafniki face relentless danger, frontal assaults, rear guard actions, feint attacks, and plugging enemy breakthroughs. Casualty rates reached 90 to 93%, with one officer noting, "Our company lasted 1 or 2 engagements. Nobody survived a month," per Red Army logs. Transported in cattle cars under NKVD escort, they fought with rifles and bayonets against tanks and artillery, often without support. Callous commanders sent them through minefields, ignoring available clearing equipment. They were cannon fodder, a platoon leader wrote, meant to save regular units. Barrier units, NKVD troops revived from Trotsky's era, shot deserters or panic mongers, forcing Shtrafniki to choose between enemy fire and Soviet bullets, a grim reality unique in World War II. Some commanders, recognizing unjust sentences, showed restraint, valuing their men's lives. This duality mirrors 2025's Ukraine, where Russia's conscripts face brutal hazing and high losses per world crunch, while elite units operate with precision. The Iran war's disruption of drone supplies, with Israel's F-35s targeting Tehran's factories, leaves Russia's Garin. 2 drones ineffective, echoing the Shtrafniki's inadequate equipment. Per Defense Express. We thank our sponsor, Valor Time Watch Company, for crafting timepieces that honor World War II sacrifices. Inspired by 1940s military designs, their watches incorporate sand from Normandy, aluminum from AB-17, and parachute fabric from Bastogne. For the 81st D-Day anniversary in June 2025, Valor Time submerged watch cases off Utah Beach, letting the sea's tides age them, symbolizing soldiers' endurance. Recovered on June 6, this unpolished collection bears the ocean's marks. Secure yours at the link below, as these pieces of living history won't last. Support our uncensored documentaries and wear history on your wrist. Order 227 fostered paranoia with minor infractions, praising a German weapon, cooking poorly, or tardiness, leading to penal service. A factory engineer was sentenced for lateness, and the 214th Cavalry Regiment was collectively punished for losing its banner. Per Soviet archives, self-mutilation or desertion meant instant execution or extended service. Zealots sought any excuse to denounce, a survivor wrote, reflecting Stalin's scapegoating. This mirrors 2025's authoritarian tactics. Russia's brutal Didoshina hazing drives desertions, per the Express, while China's J-16 provocations in the Taiwan Strait exploit global distractions, per Navy Times, signaling a shared reliance on fear to control forces. Not all Shtrafniki were cannon fodder. Officer-based battalions, highly skilled and motivated, executed critical missions, like a 1944 raid destroying German bridges, and a divisional headquarters behind lines, per Red Army reports. Well supplied, these units could regain ranks, fostering loyalty. Conversely, penal companies, often ex-prisoners, committed war crimes, such as bayoneting 15 POWs, rarely punished in Stalin's system. This duality reflects Russia's 2025 military. Elite units contrast with conscripts sent into Ukraine's meat grinder, Persepa, while ISIS-KS 2025 Moscow attack, killing 140, exploits Russia's weakened state, per Medusa. Penal service extended to the Soviet Navy and Air Force. The 157th Fighter Aviation Regiment, with 64 penal pilots until 1943, targeted Volga Bridge crossings and enemy airfields during Stalingrad, downing 400 aircraft despite 80% losses, per Soviet air logs. Naval penal units, often untrained, wielded anti-tank rifles against overwhelming odds. These units, like Ukraine's 2025 drone operators striking Russian assets 2,200 miles away, per Defense Express, showed efficiency when skilled but were wasted as cannon fodder. The Iran war's disruption of Russia's drone supply, per Reuters, parallels the Shtrafniki's inadequate resources. Surviving Shtrafniki could be reinstated or released, their records cleared. Exceptional performance earned pardons, as when General Konstantin Rokossovsky freed a battalion for a daring raid, per Memoirs. General Pavel Badov, however, pardoned only the soldier firing an anti-tank weapon, not the loader. Injuries guaranteed release. Severe wounds brought honorable discharge. By 1945, penal units shaped victories at Stalingrad and Berlin, their 1.5 million men paying a horrific price, per Soviet records. The system's abolition ended their suffering, but their legacy endures. In 2025, Russia's Ukraine war, with 1 million casualties and failing Garin, 2 drones, per Sepa, mirrors the Shtrafniki's expendability. The Iran war's naval interdictions threaten Russia's shadow fleet, per The Guardian, while China's Taiwan Strait provocations exploit Western distractions, per Navy logs. The Shtrafniki's story, sacrifice, injustice, and resilience, warns of the human toll in authoritarian regimes' desperate wars.